All right, welcome everyone to the Freedom Blueprint podcast. I think this is episode 4. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sam Hijjah, and I'm the creator. I would like to say the receiver of the Freedom Blueprint. If you don't know what it is, it's my 6-step system on how I was able to create complete freedom in my life, whether internally, financially, location, and time. All 4 levels of freedom, which I believe every human should have. But today, what I really want to talk about is the Charlie Kirk assassination. Really interesting time that we live in 2025. I did not agree with a lot of what he said, especially a couple of years ago. There were certain things that I truly liked and I could admire, but it's fine. I think as a man you should be able to agree with people and disagree with people without having the need or wishing bad upon them or them losing their life. So rest in peace, Mr. Charlie Kirk. But what I want to talk about is how he started to questioning the narrative. He was not even fully against the narrative. He was just starting to question it, and he was basically brought down because he had that much influence. So my question to you today is, if you cannot even question the narrative, how free are you? How free are you truly? If you can't even question the narrative. And today I was reading that Mr. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States, is going to make it illegal. He's going to revoke your citizenship if you criticize the state of Israel. And that makes you think, who are we truly enslaved to? Do you really have freedom? If you can't even criticize another fucking country. Now, I'm not here to just tell you all of the problems that are arising, because there are a lot. You're watching this and your liberties are being threatened. If you live in the United States of America, one of the greatest countries on earth, probably the greatest country, because I was just talking to one of my friends and she's saying that in Morocco, if you were to criticize the king of Morocco, you could be put in jail. Like, people don't want to even be around you if you cannot, if you are going to criticize the king, if you're going to criticize the monarchy. They don't even want to be around you because your phones will be tapped. Now, we can criticize Donald Trump all we want. We can do that, which is absolutely fucking amazing. Whether you support him or not, you should be able to criticize and use your freedom of speech. And it's your God-given right. It's a natural right. It is your human right and even duty to promote good and forbid evil. And whenever you are being silenced on what is happening in another country that's not even our country, you gotta question who is really pulling the strings. Now, this is the problem. Now, what's the solution? The solution is what we've created here in the Freedom Blueprint, because I am not one that I've known about this. I've actually been talking about that Israel is controlling the United States for the last 15 years. I was a 17-year-old kid preaching about this because I'm Palestinian. So I know about this because my family has had to live through this occupation for the last almost century. So I know this through and through. But the question was, what is the solution? I want to ask you, what is the solution? If your freedoms and your liberties are being threatened, what do you need to do? It's 2025. If you haven't heard of Agenda 2030, I want you to stop this video and look it up. What they're envisioning is they want to create a one world government. And I'm probably going to get freaking restricted and banned on YouTube. I don't give a fuck. Right? I'm going to say it how it is. They want to create a one world government, a one world currency, a one world army, a one world religion under the guise of freedom like universal basic income, everyone gets money, but you're basically going to be living in these 15-minute smart cities in a small little freaking apartment, renting everything. You're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. Those are the exact words. Look it up. Don't believe me, look it up. Okay, so the solution is you need to get ready. You should have actually been getting ready for the last 5 years. And so we want to create sovereignty. That's what the freedom blueprint is all about. It's freedom on all levels. So we have created the solution, and we have figured out how to leverage the public side of the United States system, the corporation that is the United States, leverage the debt and create cash flowing assets and move those assets into the private, where they cannot be touched or tracked, or they have no knowledge of them. So we want to create ownership. And here are the 5 things that I believe you should be striving to create ownership around. Number 1, you want to create ownership around land and properties. You need to own land and you need to have properties, but more importantly, the land, which a lot of you guys don't know this, but when you buy a property, if you don't own the land, that's why you have to pay property taxes, because there is tax around the land, right? So it's kind of like back in the day when they had slaves, right? We have slaves nowadays. Kanye said it best. Everyone's a slave, but not everybody knows that they are a slave, right? You may not know that you're a slave. There are invisible shackles around you, and if you're not aware, you won't ever be able to actually break free. You're gonna stay running on this hamster wheel for the rest of your life. So you need to know. So going back in time, when they were creating these systems, they're based off of older systems. So a landowner was only a white male that could read. You'd have to be a white male that could read so you could own land. Now what they would do, they would have indentured servants. So what that would mean is they would have this land, they would work the land, they would have the crops, and then the person that owned the land would take a percentage of the crops. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? That's where we are now, right? Not just with property taxes, you're getting taxed on everything, a little bit from everywhere, right? And it's either the government and they're creating money out of thin air, charging interest for that money, and then they're getting that all paid off, the interest paid off by the taxes of the US citizen. So your energy, your time, and your labor is all being used to pay for a system that was designed to basically extract all of the resources of the country. That's why we're 35 trillion fucking dollars in debt. It's a flawed system. So you need to own land and properties. Land most importantly, because you don't need to pay property taxes if you own the land. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you need to own Bitcoin. There's 21 million Bitcoin. I think there's only about 1 million plus left. And every 4 years, essentially gets twice as hard to mine as much Bitcoin. So it's just simple supply and demand. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. There's only about like 20 million millionaires. So literally every single millionaire can only have about 1 Bitcoin. So you do the math. So Bitcoin's going to get to easily, it's right now we're seeing it's like I just looked earlier, it's about $115,000. When I first got into Bitcoin, it was about $2,000. So you need to have Bitcoin. Number 3, you need precious metals, gold and silver specifically. Over time in history, whenever things have been uncertain, where people would put their money was precious metals, gold and silver specifically. And I would say that silver has an upside potential, and I'm going to be placing a lot more money in silver. But gold's always been a safe haven, but I think silver has a lot more to go. We've seen some pretty good highs lately. Actually, silver was at $46 the other day, which is pretty awesome because it's usually between 25 or 35. So we see that the world is growing more and more uncertain every single day. So that's number 3. Now, number 4, you need to have businesses. You need to own equity in businesses. Diversify your income. Simple as that. Having equity in different businesses, whether your own or equity in other companies, that should be the 4th thing that you're putting money in to create sovereignty. And number 5, you need to be getting into energy farming. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this because I could possibly be attacked, and I'm not trying to be targeted. So there are ways that we've figured out on how to create massive amounts of energy, and that's where a lot of billionaires are actually putting their money. It's in energy farms. It's in the production of energy, right? Solar is actually about to really go extinct, they just stopped the tax credits. I believe are going to be ending in 2026, 2027. So solar is about to be extinct, as far as, at least it's not going to be the hot commodity. It'll still be around for sure, but it would be more of a place, like location based. Like if it makes sense for that location, then they will get it. But a lot of the real big boom has already happened, and I said this 5 years ago. I said that by 2030, like, we'll have a new energy system, and that next energy system will be the fusion energy. So nuclear fusion, fission. I have friends that actually have created fusion technologies that are for communities. So the output is about 6,000 times more than the input. So it's quite insane. And I have people that have created free energy systems that basically create unlimited energy from the magnetic field of the earth. And I'm not going to go too deep into that because so many people have been taken out, if you know what I mean. They've been unalived for this, because if you think about this, I'm going to blow your mind. If we had unlimited energy, which is what Nikola Tesla had figured out, if we had unlimited energy, just imagine the world that we would live in. Unlimited food supplies. We'd be able to have unlimited water, fresh water, because the salination method takes a lot of energy. If you had unlimited energy, we would be able to have unlimited clean water for the world, unlimited food production, unlimited housing. We would be able to have peace on earth. And that is why this, specifically the energy sector, has been very monitored, and every single person that has ever created a system, which is very simple to create unlimited energy, has been unalived and taken out. So I'm not going to talk about this too much. We talk about this a lot more on our inner community and circle. If you want to join, the link will be in the description below. But you should be creating an energy farm. This is where a lot of the billionaires are putting their money. So I'm excited for what we're creating. I'm also a bit worried for people that have not set themselves up for sovereignty, for freedom, because things are only going to get worse and worse over time. And the longer you wait, the more you will suffer. And I don't want to see anyone suffer. I'm here to truly just remind you of your own power, and to not choose to stay stuck and not choose ignorance. Look around. The world is different. Ever since 2020, when COVID, I already said it, the C word, went around, things have changed. That was a testing ground, and now this is also a testing ground. Are you going to allow them to take away your freedoms, or are you going to step up and make sure that you're under the right system that allows you to be protected and maintain your liberties? So, a lot to digest there. If you are watching this and you've gotten this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts below. What do you think? Should you be able to criticize another country that's not even the United States, or should you be punished for doing so? I want to hear in the comments below. Let me know what you think. On another note, as a Palestinian American, I'm quite proud to see all of the people waking up to the reality of what's been happening for all of these years, not just in Palestine, not just in Lebanon or Syria, but in fact in all of these major conflicts around the world. You know, on an energetic level, what we have to realize is that the whole of humanity is one organism, it's one connection. And this part of humanity is the parasite. It's the egoic part of the collective consciousness. And I know I'm going a little bit deep, but what I had to realize is whenever the war first started back a couple of years ago, I was actually in Phuket, Thailand, and it was quite disturbing because I would look online, I would look on my phone, and I would see like literally kids being blown up to smithereens, and I'm like, what can I do? Like, this is absolutely, like, it's horrific what was happening. And so what I had to realize is on the scale of consciousness that Dr. Hawkins had created, so it goes from 0 to 1,000. At the very bottom of the scale was guilt and shame, and then, like, you know, those are 20, 30, fears at 100, courage is 200, love is at 500, and then enlightenment's at 700 to 1,000. At the very bottom of the scale was what we call the victim consciousness. It's victim abuser consciousness. And so what I had to realize was if everything was connected, which is a universal law, if everything was connected, where within me was I being a victim? And as someone that is Palestinian American, it's really easy to get caught up in the victim mentality because, yes, we were pillaged and our women were raped and our kids and children, you know, and families were murdered in cold blood. And rightfully so, we were victimized. But for how long will we be a victim? How much longer? And the other side of the story is, like, if I was being a victim, where in my life was I playing the abuser? Because they're one and the same consciousness. And once I started to really realize that, I started to do the inner work, and I realized that if we want to make a change out there, it has to start from in here. And I believe that everything in life is 95% energy spiritually and 5% the action or the strategy. So in another way, it's like 95% the feminine energy and 5% masculine energy. Action is the masculine and the feminine is the energy, because we have both within us. This is one of the universal laws. It just dropped I can't even think about it right now because it just slipped my mind. But essentially, we have the energetics that we need to put into play and the action that is necessary. So there is a level of reflection within ourselves that is needed, and clarity that is needed, plus the action that is also needed. So, you know, do what you gotta do to get clarity within yourself, and then take the actions necessary to make that happen. Okay, so I'm excited. I'm looking forward to have all of the new people that are coming into the Freedom Blueprint. I do this for you guys specifically because, you know, I want you guys to have insights on what is happening currently, to have the frameworks necessary to make a change in the world for you and your family, and then your community, state, and the world. So thank you for watching the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on our next episode, probably somewhere international, because we're about to start a tour. So we'll see you next time, and God bless.